to another edition of Boys to Men Workshop Part 3. I am Jacoby Waters. I am the founder and executive director of Young Men of Distinction. And I'm also co-hosted with Jonathan Gary Sr., who is the founder of Manhood Mentorship. So thank you guys for watching as we get ready to jump right into tonight's agenda. So we're going to first, I'd like to thank the young men that are here this evening. These young men are part of the Young Men of Distinction, and which Young Men of Distinction is a mentorship program. We mentor young men ages 7 to 18. Manhood Mentorship is our big brother, and they mentor men ages 18 until. So, you want more information about Young Men of Distinction or Manhood Mentorship, please feel free to write in the comment section, and one of us will reach out to you, myself or Jonathan. So, without further ado, we're going to also with an announcement. So tomorrow, Young Men of Distinction and Welcome to the Kingdom are hosting a youth symposium tomorrow at 7 o'clock via Facebook and YouTube. Our young men that's representing on that panel, I actually have 3 of them with me tonight. So we have J Dog. He's an 8th grader. He goes to Palm Spring Middle School and plays the viola, right? Okay, good. Woo! Then we have Solomon and Malachi. Which one are the trap stars? Okay, we got my trap stars over here. They both go to my alumni published artist high school. Malachi's in the 10th grade. Solomon's in the 11th grade. So give a round of applause for our fellow brothers that will be represented tomorrow. So tomorrow's symposium is focusing on the youth. We're actually going to be learning from, so tonight and tomorrow, we're going to be learning from our youth. Instead of us as the adults kind of just being like drill sergeants to these young guys, they're actually going to teach us tonight. So I'm actually taking a step back and learning from them. So that way we're able to pour into knowledge better to them. This is actually a spinoff from our part 2. We ended off with us learning from them. So tonight, I'm taking a step back and I'm learning from these great young men I'm in the room with. So we're gonna start with something real light, real simple. How many of y'all have Snapchat? Okay. All right. How many of y'all have Instagram? TikTok? Okay. I know I don't. I'm gonna ask you Facebook. All right, YouTube. Stocks. What? Stocks. What is that? Y'all have? Yeah, investing. Y'all, who invests? All right, that's okay. For the ones that did not raise their hand on that, I feel that as a curveball. It's okay. So don't feel bad. So to tell y'all, I just recently got into investing. Mind you, I'm only 32. So I just got into it this in 2 weeks. I had somebody try to convince me to do it for the longest, and I was very, oh nah, so I was wasting time. I blew it off. It took my coworkers at work to convince me, and I kept hearing that conversation, hearing it, and I had one of them break it down to me in a real basic form, and I started investing in stocks. And right now, I think my portfolio within 2 weeks, I have about 8 stocks right now I'm invested in. So don't feel alarmed the ones that raise their hand on investing, because me being my age now, I wish I had somebody tell me when I was young age about investing. Because by the time y'all get to my age, hopefully y'all will make a smart decision. Y'all will be sitting on just portfolio, y'all able to just either cash it out or just keep on investing and pass it on to your children's children. So start creating that generational wealth for your family. I actually watch I Am podcast. I know I Am athlete Monday, and there was a guy on there. He asked a question. I'm gonna ask y'all this question. So you know how we normally talk when we get money, you're supposed to invest to your children, right? So you go down for your children, great, your children's children, right? Yes, no, yeah. All right. But when athletes and rappers get money, what do they normally tend to do when they get money? Who do they normally think about giving money to first? Family. So they go up, right? That's going up. Y'all get the analogy? So why as so if we're taught as y'all age to go down, when we get the money, why do we tend to go up? I'm gonna leave that there. Why is that? Oh, you asking for answers. Now I'm asking for answers. Why when we're taught growing up to give money, to save money, to be able to give our children's children, but then when we get the money, we buy our mama a house, we take care of grandma, so we're going up. Instead of saving that money, it's still going down. Why do we do the reverse when we get the money? Because you gotta pay back the people that were down with you. Okay. Pay back the people that were down. Okay. Anybody else want to chime in? You probably want to thank some stuff that down to you if you want to be there with them. Okay. Anybody else? It's when I heard that question, it blew my mind because it made me think like, yeah, I've seen a lot of rappers they give mama a house, and but you never really hear about them investing down. They may do it, but you don't hear about it. You hear they bought mama a house, they paid back their friends in the neighborhood, they did grandma and granddaddy. They do the extra, but you never hear about them saving for their children's children. That's just something that I thought about and wanted to leave with y'all to kind of think as you guys are getting older. And I know you want to thank Mama for what she's done, but make sure. But I want to push back on that question. How do we know that? How can we assume that they did? Because the legacy that they left for their kids wouldn't foster until 10 years from now. Mm-hmm. So even as somebody that's business minded like myself, when I came into business and came into being comfortable, yes, I did put my mama on payroll. I did because of all of the things you guys said, right? Because again, mama was there when you didn't have a pot to fish in and the window to throw it out, right? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean today who I am that my kids ain't good. If I died today, my kids are great. So I think they may have the same setup, but we just may not know because who's gonna say and put that's not. I don't think it's social media conscious today to say rappers today is guess what I just put. I think Cardi B said something like that. I think she did say that she got her kids house and college fund all the way paid for, but who do you? I would say as a community we would be ill-advised to say that doesn't happen. It may not be media friendly to go and say that. Is that possible? Is that worth Snapchat to say? I would think so as you older. But as a young person, I think they first think that came into success that it's more socially acceptable to say I took their mama. Because mama was there, especially if she was a single parent, mama was there with me with every game when daddy wasn't there, right? So I first got to say mama good and everybody else good before I worry about saying Lil Johnny good. But Lil Johnny might be straight already. You just don't know. So
Don't mean to interrupt, but
No, that's good. But I want y'all to see how Jonathan was able to give, his take on it. That's what, we try to, stimulate with y'all, like conversations, to get y'all to not only think, but also, I'm not gonna say he disagreed, but he gave me another perspective to look at that particular question. And like I said, it's his views, and I have my views. At the end of the day, we still can still talk. It doesn't faze me that he did not take my side. So just want y'all to kind of understand, So when you give out your views and somebody goes against you, it's not a bad thing.
but I ain't going against him.
No,
I know, but it's just thinking full circle. Just thinking full circle and making and taking the point to maybe be that person that do say, hey, when I come into y'all track stars that y'all become the next Usain Bolt, that y'all do say, you know what, I have taken care of my generational family and my older family. You know what I mean? And being socially conscious to let people know that yes, that I do have my kids set up for success when I finally want to stop running track.
so I'm gonna go with Xavier. So you being at Oakland Middle School. So what is important to you in your life, in your world, in the world of Xavier? What is important to you? No right or wrong answer. What is just important to you? It can be school, personal. What is important to you? Going to college, okay. What else? Good grades. Okay. Anything else? All right. Janelle, what about you? What is important in the life of Janelle? What is important to you? Making money to go through life. Making money to go through life, okay. You know, going to school, trying to get accepted in the direction. All right. And define career things. Okay. All right. Kevin, what about you? What is important to Kevin? What is important in your life? What is important to you? Being successful. Um, getting my license, that's important to me.
License?
Yeah.
What you doing?
Huh?
What you doing?
Yeah, you tell me you wanna ride, then get the point A and B without having mom and daddy. Yeah. That freedom. Oh, what's up? That's it, Kevin? Yep. All right. Simon, what about you? You being the 11th grader, you're actually, well, Kevin's the oldest, but you being next in line to get ready to graduate soon, what is important to Solomon right now, present day?
Present day, I gotta say, living rather than surviving.
Okay, okay.
Break that down. All right, so I guess you could say I spent majority of my life making it from day to day instead of enjoying each day. So I've been trying to take the time to stop and smell the roses instead of just walking by the garden altogether. Why? Why? Yeah. What sparked that? What sparked that? Because you ain't do it all before. I did not do it. What light went off to say, bam, let's start doing it? Well, I guess you could say there's a lot of individual things, but one of the main things I guess I would attribute it to would be, I guess, realizing that I wouldn't say I wasn't happy. I was more in like a middle stage where I wasn't sad, I wasn't happy. It was just a middle content feeling for like a good portion of my life. I'd say for like probably like the last 3 years, I wasn't necessarily happy, but I wasn't necessarily sad either. There was like this content middle that I was okay with for a while. But then like the more I thought about it, I was like, wow, I haven't been sad in a while. I haven't necessarily been happy either. So I decided I was like, let me. I wanted to switch something. I wanted to change something because it would. I didn't realize how much it would affect me until it affected me. Like it would cause me to make decisions that I wouldn't necessarily made if I was feeling this way or feeling that way. So after, I guess I could say, I made a pretty, I made a pretty hefty decision. And then after that, it really just put my life in perspective. And then I was like, listen, I could keep living this way, or I could go through some struggle and change some and see if that works. Because I got tired of just living one way for a long period of time. So what I did was change my mentality, because that's the most important thing. From being content, I decided to step out of my comfort zone. Because I read this thing, I read a bunch of quotes and stuff every day, and one I keep coming across every day is that life is probably hard because you're either in your comfort zone or you're stepping out of your comfort zone. So basically, at the end of the day, life is going to be hard no matter what. So you can either stay the same while it gets hard, or get better while it gets hard, and then eventually, maybe one day it'll be easier. And if it's not easier, at least you can take more. And I guess that's it in a nutshell.
What's that in poetry? Yeah, that was deep. That was deep. Thank you. Good stuff.
Malachi, I know you kind of like, man, I go behind my brother. But it's okay. It's all right. So I know when you was here last time I know you mentioned your girlfriend. So would that be right? Would she still be the most important thing in your world, in the world of Malachi? So if Malachi, listen, this is a safe space. I'm not judging you. Listen, how I'm gonna get to that. Go ahead, Malachi. Go ahead. What's important to you? Like, what is in your world? What is important to you? Like, what's important to you?
So right now, I'm getting off an injury. It's like, I feel like Jensen. Like, getting off that right now. So pretty much just school, grade, track, trying to get better at that right now.
Okay. Uh, okay. So give yourselves a round of applause. You know. So the reason I did this exercise is me being able to go around the room to ask what's important to y'all. It helps me and Jonathan kind of understand y'all in a perspective to be able to how can our wisdom can also enhance what's important to you. So, because like for instance, see me and Janal, we have a special connection. If you don't know, I'm here to tell him. So I feel Janal the most because he's now going to learn why I mess with him the most. Because when I was Janal's age, I was very heavy in music. Music is still my first love, still my passion. I had a dream when I was a kid I always used to go out in the den and I used to pretend the room was like a microphone and act like there were audience. So I used to make the top of the den, the top of the living room, like I'm on stage and the bottom, like the den area was like I had fans and my imagination. Listen, y'all can judge. It's okay. I was the only child, so I had to use my imagination. So I used to like have the broom. I used to watch and mimic different artists. So the whole trips with the broom, like treat like with the mic stand, yeah, I did all that. So as I got older, I saw Master P. Master P was a big influence And my dream was to own my own record company independently. But I didn't want to do it like him and just be just a record company. I wanted to be where also distribution. Mind you, I was in the sixth grade, so I was 2 years younger than you, thinking I want to have it where the major labels come to my record company to do distribution deals. I was thinking like this before streaming, way before streaming. Um, so that's what kind of mindset I was on. So it went from me wanting to be the artist. As I got older, I picked up writing music. Um, my in the 11th grade, that's when I started learning how to write music. And what made me start writing music was a breakup. So now y'all know my first song was about my ex, and it was a breakup song. Yeah.
The song? Can you play it for us?
Nah, it's at my mama's house.
Okay, all right.
Nah, it was. I wasn't proud of what I wrote. What she was shooting everything under the sun. So I wasn't proud of that. Yeah, I still have it, but I ain't proud of it. I never let it see the light of day. But I kept getting better. Just started writing. I had like 3 composition books full of music from the time I was 17 to about 21. And they all like it showed growth and how where I was going just as I was getting older. And then I learned how to make beats. I'm still new at it. I'm still very rookie-ish with making beats. Because then I wanted to get more behind the scenes and really understand. Maybe me being an artist was not for me. Me being behind the scenes is where I can make the money. That's why I mess with you the most because I kind of want you to also see. I know you want to play, but also also be a person that's very diverse and learn as a business. So then you're not in a performance deal with an orchestra where you get paid nickels on the dollar, no pennies on the dollar. That's why I miss you the most because we both have the same passion, which is music. So for you, I just want you to make sure, I know that's what you want to do, but just make sure you're mindful of the business itself. Xavier, I remember when you first want to join the group, you were very active in football. You said, oh, damn, oh, okay. But I do remember when you first about to join the group, you were active in football. I do remember that. Following that, Malachi, what do y'all run in track? The 200, 4x1? I mess it up. Y'all correct me.
I'll run the 4x8, and the 8.
Okay.
I just get 400 and I just
400. Okay. Okay. So I introduce y'all to my cousin. He actually is getting ready for the Tokyo Olympics.
Ooh.
So I actually have.
Gotta get him out of here.
Okay. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring up a special guest. I'm gonna have him introduce himself. I'm gonna switch. And I'm gonna get ready to learn.
Hey, everybody doing? My name is Vincent Hall. I'm part of the Art Y'all Brothers with the Mentorship. Speak about consequences of your actions, choices and repercussions of what is cause and effect.
Cause and effect.
Just
Give him a little background on
making choices. Choices you make in the moment. How far down the line it can affect. It's crazy that this is what we're about right now. I'm actually dealing with a situation right now because I'm actually trying to rent an apartment. But I'm not even gonna be poor, due to I have a pending legal issue that's stopping me, they do background and criminal background checks on the apartment. So that keeps flagging the reason I can't get to the apartment. So the crazy thing is the charge is from 2 years ago. That's where we're going to start. We're going to backtrack. This is choice 2 years ago. This is the second choice. So the second choice was I was supposed to have an ignition interlock put on my car. I only to have it installed, but like it was like a week waiting period, waiting period. So I've been had my car, I've been had stuff. So within that week, the choice I made was to drive. My car ended up dying on the road. The cops come to help me. They see I don't have the interlock, so they hit me with a charge. That's the actual charge that I'm dealing with now. That's stopping me from getting my car back. But the reason I had to have an interlock actually in my car is from the choice I made in 2008 when I was 18. I'm 31 now, so this is me 31 dealing with a choice in retrospect from 2008. Because in 2008, the first year of college, I made a choice, smoke some weed, drink a little bit, and try to get back to school. I was at a party back in my hometown. Had to drink, smoke, and drive back to school. Got a DUI. Actually ended up getting 2 DUIs after that. So because I chose to do that in my city, when you get from PA, in my city, when you get 2 DUIs, you got to automatically get a bus ride. Now, there were a whole different bunch of avenues and different adventures from 2008 to about, 2019. I wasn't really driving in my car. When I did get my car back, finally, after all these years, 11 years later, no issues, didn't get in no trouble in 11 years. When I was ready to get my car, because of that choice in 2008, still had 2019 to get the interlock in my car. And because the week span before I can get the interlock, I chose to drive. Now here in 2021, I'm having difficulty getting my car. I'm having difficulty getting in my car. So it's just what I mean. So in retrospect, I feel like everything is really just part of the effect. Because whatever you're doing right now is affecting the future. So just be real mindful. And I know it's hard in the moment because we all deal with impulse control on some level. And it's hard in the moment. But you gotta think like a lot of choices you made, and it's, I don't want to say it like this, but a lot of choices you made way back already affected what's coming in the future. But from this point on, you can be a little more mindful of the choices you made. That's all.
Got any questions for him? Here are some questions.
I have a question. Did your home in your past left you in jail time? Yeah, actually did. It did. Probation violation. It's not, showing up on time, being where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to do, and I had to like take something that it's like this was like a whole like this choices, even those choices I was making within that time. It was long dated the probation period. The probation was a misdemeanor. That's in 2008. Yeah, the choices I made within there had so long. Until I didn't get off probation until still also. I definitely was in a couple of weeks there. So my question is, how has being around John helped you? How has John been a good influence on you? I look at John as back in layman terms, just progression. You know what I mean? You see somebody like I know you know me and John actually that, but that's because I know John is a busy man. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily I'm not necessarily uh, a person that craves money. Like, but I do crave the type of influence or the type of because you're blessed if you're blessed. Like just the fact I really admire John's reach. That John can make a call or something like that, regardless of what, because your word means a lot, regardless whether what kind of money you have. So that just speaks to the person. If you can make a call for me, it don't matter, you know what I mean, whether it's about one thing or another, you can make a call for me and help me, fulfill my endeavor I'm trying to do, and that's the person that I can. So for y'all, the word
that he mentioned is, you know, I would say just be just be, to see how John was able to be a blessing to him, just because of his character. John didn't have to put his back out for him, but he showed John saw something in him that I want to help this young man be a progression, not somebody that's a hindrance. So that's why I'm with y'all. I make sure I'm trying to be the best person to push y'all forward. You know, like J Law, Solomon, and Malachi to be on the panel tomorrow. That means that's not saying nothing wrong with Kevin and Xavier. That's just I saw something in them like, all right, they're gonna be the first guys I'm gonna use for this event. But for future, all y'all gonna have a chance to shine. So that's what I said that I saw that message listening is, just be mindful of how you treat people because you never know. You don't know who anybody in this room may know. They even make a simple offenses like Solomon Malachi. I'm gonna try to make sure they meet my cousin. You just never know who just never know.
Question. How old are you again, sir? 13. You at 13, what would you tell her?
Oh man.
Like a question?
If he was 13 again, right? All that he done been through, all of the ups and downs, what would you tell that Benny sitting there at 13 years old?
And I know like what he did in the future.
Yeah, that's him right now.
Okay.
The future is him right now.
Mhm.
But if he was you at 13, what would you tell him? To prevent him from going through everything you've been through.
Okay.
No. He's telling you the 13 year old.
Everything comes from the film.
That you shouldn't drink and drive.
I mean, that's a big time now. You're going to choose what you should not. But if you got to go in the ninth grade, I will tell you right now, really start thinking about, and I don't want to put personally at this, but really I was start thinking about what is I want to do in school. Because here I am 31 still trying to figure out what I like or what I want to do for the career and different things. So, I'm not saying hard for me, but really already, as soon as you step into high school, start putting that stuff in high school. When you graduate, everything goes up. So I was start thinking that. So I want to do that.
Anything else for anybody before you have to get ready to go?
Any of the choices that you made, would you support any of them, like anything throughout life? Does the college work for your effect?
Oh, definitely. Always. I mean, I did a lot of I have activities and potentials, and I got a lot of school and a lot of stuff like that. I made a lot of choices. Even bad choices I made have sometimes guilty choices and guilty thoughts. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, be mindful. A bad choice really, that's the biggest lesson in my life.
What was the reason of like driving when your car died? Was there like a good reason?
At that time, in my mind, it was a good reason, but everything is told me now. If I knew what I know now, I'd do it. No. But in that moment, I thought it was a good reason.
So hindsight 2020, right? You know now it wasn't a good reason. So protect him from making a bad. What was that? Don't give us the reason, but what was?
I recognize a lot of things, like within the youth, especially our generation. There's a lot of problems with influence. I think a lot of people genuinely have common sense. Because I know a lot of people you experience regret after a bad decision. Even after you make a bad decision, a couple of things
Here, help me with this question, not the question I asked you. And you tell me not to do it. Do we listen? Huh? Most times we don't, right? So that's the point that I want you to take from what he just said. I appreciate him giving y'all that because that is true. By having at least a stopgap, you know what, Dakota? I'm going to go skydive with one little baby garbage bag parachute. I'm going to just try to see if it works. Don't do that. Your garbage bag may not work. I think it might work, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. Don't do that. And I'm going to do it anyway. So if you go and make the steps to ask for help, and somebody gives you the advice that you don't want to hear, listen to the advice. Because you were smart enough to stop, think, and react. So your reaction, I ain't want to put that thing up, but that reaction should be the reaction you go to, even though it's not what you want to hear. Because we'll often hear what we don't want to hear, then we'll go back and try to rationalize a way to make it work for us, right? All the time. Well, if I go to her house, or if I go do this, but if I'm home by 10, I'm okay. And then 9:59, you get in the car accident. So if you're going to be smart enough, which I would encourage you to do, then listen to what he just said. If it's something that you got a question and you go get the advice, listen to the advice. Okay? Thank you, sir.
All right, give me a hand.
Can I say something in this thing?
Go ahead, listen.
Okay, I had a son at the age of his age 13 in 2006. He broke in our neighbor house, close neighbor. And I don't know if y'all remember this. Two minor guys was on the palm train. They had guns. They had just broke in my neighbor house and got the guns out. And they had the whole, I want to say Broadway, and you have locked. And one of them was my son. And he went to, they caught him. So he got the blame on everything. So they had charges as adult. Then they dropped it to a juvenile and they put him in a program. You know, sometimes trouble is hard getting in and hard getting out. Easy getting in and hard getting out. And to this day now, he started getting into, you know, he went to the program, he got out the program, and he started getting in trouble. You know, he doing the drugs, and every time he got in trouble, he took the blame on everything. So it's like, you know, y'all just be careful who you hang around and you know, you hang around with the crowd. Sometimes you have to distance yourself from the crowd because, like I say, you know, they had him on the 12th floor of Stockade, not Stockade, the county jail, you know, at the county jail on Gun Club. They had him up there on the 12th floor, and I had to go. I had to go to court about every other month because every time you turn around, they was like changing the court. They changed the court. They changed the court. They, you know, until they really dropped it down. Then he got out. Went to a program. He was program 6. They put him in a program 6, and he finished the program. And I'd say about, I'm gonna say 6 months. 6 months, got right back in trouble. You know, he got back in trouble, and he just stayed in trouble. Jail. And the last time he went, I told my kid, I said, hey, mama love you, but mama can't keep putting no money putting on your account, so you can't see me. You're on your own. Until this day now, I don't see him anything. He's on his own. He's still in jail. He robbed the Metro in Fort St. Lucie, Metro PC. And he been in there, and down in Port St. Lucie, now almost 2 years in the camp, in the jailhouse. Cause they, now they didn't, they got the COVID going on, so he can't first to get out.
How old is
He's 20, he's 28. He's 28 now.
But they started at what age?
At 13. Started at the age of 13.
So I'm gonna say this, Mama. Sometimes jail can be a blessing.
Right.
And as my experience in having a program like this with dealing with young adults, it's only two things gonna happen. They're gonna end up in jail, or as we always say, in the country or whatever, or the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
So in the midst of that storm, be thankful he's still alive.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yes.
But I am really cut you off, but at least you know where he's at.
Right.
And he can't cause that much more trouble
No.
where he is. So he's almost safe being locked up. As crazy as that sounds, but we don't want y'all to go there.
Right. And she, with my partner Alicia, she used to get mad with me because I used to do things behind her back and try to send him campaign. Send the money and count all the stuff for him to make sure he got, make sure he had. And, she get upset with me. But, I had to do what her mom had to do. And then when I realized, she said, you know what? She worked at a juvenile. So she opened my eyes then. And she opened my eyes and told me, they don't need all this stuff because they got everything they need in jail. So I stopped sending. But I told her I couldn't send no more because I can't see my money going to the jailhouse. Who made you go there? You went there on your own. The choices that you choose, and the boys you choose to hang with. So y'all just be careful out there. Being in that jail, boy, it's hard getting out.
Is there anybody want to talk about some choices that you conflicted with? See, I seen both of their heads move like they was twins. Okay, but before y'all show over there because both of y'all heads went to the side. So that to me was yellow blanket flags of red. That y'all might be confronted with some choices. But go ahead, sir. A choice that you need help with. Yeah, and you're gonna listen to it. So don't waste our time and you ain't gonna listen to it. Keep it to yourself. But if you're gonna actually listen to us tonight, know that choices you need help with right now. So everything you don't need no expert guidance on parent advisory sticker you can put on to help you not fall down in some pit hole. Okay. Y'all got anything over there?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's more of a, cause y'all can add y'all 2 cents, but I wouldn't say I necessarily need any advice at this point.
Let's get the 2 cents. Come on.
All right. So I'm about to drop a bomb. I'm dropping a bomb, y'all. All right. So,
and ain't no judgment.
no, I don't care if I get it.
But it's the point is to give you the 2 cents that hopefully it might help. That's all it is.
I hear you. All right. So let me drop a bomb. So I try to act like I don't remember the day everything happened, but I remember it clearly. You make a big choice, like you remember it regardless, whether it's wanted or not. Anywho, I'm trying to avoid talking about it. Anyways, August 8th. No, it wasn't August 8th, like a week before August 8th. I don't remember the
You knew the day.
I knew the day that it happened, but I didn't know like there's like a preview.
Okay.
Stuff leads up to it, right? So I said like maybe a week or 2 before August. I can't remember the exact day. I have tried to remember it. I can't remember the exact day. But I got this Instagram DM from this one chick.
She's a prostitute, one of you. That's your prostitute.
I mean, I don't say nothing bad on nobody, so I'm not gonna. Nah, I wouldn't even say that.
I got paid there too. I had the same.
Hold on, let him finish.
All right.
You ain't have no questions, so don't jump in now.
All right. So, anyways, I get a DM. Conversation goes back and forth. Next thing you know, August 8th, inside her house, right?
Okay.
All right, and then I'm like, so against my better judgment and everything I've been taught, what was the dude's name who I sat here?
Vinny. Impulse. What he
Vinny. Oh, Impulse. To this day, I'm better than I was before, but you know how sometimes you need a catalyst to improve. So I guess in this scenario, my catalyst was her.
Mm-hmm.
So against my better judgment and everything I've been raised, I decided to have unprotected sex.
Mm-hmm.
And a while later, she texts me she's pregnant, and I'm like, oh, well. I mean, I wasn't the only person. So I wasn't. So I'm not worried. Still not. In all honesty, if I ran out of, if I told y'all the numbers of the entire situation, how much time we got?
You ain't got all day, so give us a quick note.
All right.
I'm getting old. Old people like to go to bed. I'm ready to go to bed.
All right, I get it. All right, so she texted me that she's pregnant. I'm like, oh dang, that's crazy. But what's that got to do with me though? That was my original thought process towards it, right? And so at first I wasn't gonna say nothing to nobody because I was like, she just saying this mind. She don't even know. Cause I'm like the fourth dude. No, I'm probably more, but I don't know. Anyways, that's beside the point. Anyways, I'm like, listen, I don't gotta put no energy on it because I was like, it don't got nothing to do with me at the time. So I wasn't gonna say nothing to nobody. Like I'm really good at just being quiet. Mm-hmm. Like I can take stuff to the grave. Mm-hmm. And she apparently she had went to the doctor to like double check she was pregnant. Right? And apparently her because you know like your child health care like it just go away once they get pregnant, something like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that happened and her aunt bangs on my door with her, and I was like, oh snap. Well, they're here now. I mean, I wasn't gonna do nothing. So then see if I saw them at the door, I would have answered it. Like I would have just been like, oh snap, that's crazy. They in front of my door. I would act like I wasn't home. But you see, this is where not telling anybody got me messed up. Because I didn't tell anybody, I didn't tell my mom, my brothers, nobody. So Malachi had to answer the door. Exactly. Exactly. No, but that would have happened if I had said something. But I ain't say nothing. So then he opened the door and then she started going off on Malachi. And I'm like, oh, she going off on Malachi for no reason. Because I know she's talking about me. The stuff she's saying, I know she's talking about me. But I still wasn't gonna walk up to the door. But then I ended up like, you know what? I know because Malachi's sitting there confused because he don't know what's going on. So I'm like, you know, at this point, let me just go up there because I can tell Malachi's confused. Because, you know, it got nothing to do with him. So I walk up there and then she started going off on me like she didn't make that decision herself. She a whole year older than me. She should have knew what was going on. But later,
wait a minute, hold on. She should have not made that decision?
No, I'm not saying no, she was treating me like it was my fault. Like I had forced her to do something or something like that.
Okay.
No, it was a mutual decision. I understand that. She understood that, but for some reason it seemed like the aunt did it at the time. So I can understand she was mad. Her niece healthcare don't work no more.
All right, we'll fast forward. Go ahead. And that's what I wanted to talk about. But go ahead.
All right, so fast forward, I guess, to like that day I was like, dang, because since Malachi and my older brother, they was there. So they knew.
I paused before we fast forward. Where mama? No parents there yet?
Oh, my parents? Oh no, I ain't. Oh, I told my dad. But my dad lived in like Louisiana, so I knew he wasn't gonna do nothing.
Okay.
So anyways, after that, I was like, ooh, you know what? I could probably tell my mom at this point. So I was like, literally everybody but her knows. Like it wasn't the person who can do the most is out of the loop. So I started because I like to think logically, not in that scenario, but like afterwards, I was like, you know, let me start using my brain for once. So we sat down with my mom and we told her everything. She was like, wow, I thought I raised you better than that. I was like, yeah, you did. But that's besides the point because we got to get this situation. Mm-hmm. All right, so I started handling it with my mom. And everything started getting better once I told my mom.
The influence.
Yes. What? telling you, moms know everything. I don't know how she got. I know how she got this knowledge, but like still, like the amount of
They figure out fast.
what
They figure out fast.
she knew something was up, but she just didn't know what. She just figured she was gonna let me do it. Anyways, because like I said, I like to keep myself alive. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So I bring my mom into this situation, and I'm telling y'all right now, you would not believe the expertise that she has with this entire situation. Like the finesse that she has with this whole situation is just beyond me. And now, I mean, nothing happened till day, so I'm still chilling. But like I said, this was kind of like the catalyst for me to realize I can't just keep making decisions for the sake of making decisions now. Because everything's changing, regardless, my kid or not. I still got myself in this situation. So I was like, so my mom and my dad taught me prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. So this situation, I was like, all right, let me start preparing for the worst. So I went and got a job, started getting my grades right so I could go to college, start taking care of myself more, so I can get a scholarship and go somewhere, get some stuff done. So in that regard is why, like most people would say they hate, like in my situation, most people would be like they hate her or they're mad at her or like all that other stuff. But I fully understand that it was my choice. She didn't hold a gun to my head and was like, do this or else. I went in there knowing anything that could happen. And I was like, you know what? I'm willing to take that risk. And I took it, and this is the product of it. And I'm okay with that because if I'm not okay with it, that's not going to do me any good. This is going to make me more mad about the situation. Worst case scenario, I'm going to put that bad energy on the kids. We don't want none of that. So in a normal scenario, a normal person would be mad at her or anything like that. But like the strange, like I used to think of it as strange, but now it's kind of like wow. Because if any, in all honesty, I'm thankful for that specific situation. Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have my life together to the degree I have it at now, and I wouldn't have even thought about doing some of the stuff I'm doing right now.
So as you said, your dad ended up catapulting you to something good.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what 2 cents would you like to hear, and what 2 cents you need to hear?
Ooh, okay. So,
Well, I can say congratulations, mama, fixed it for you and your problem solved. That's what you would like to hear.
that is what I would like to hear.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I know this, I understand. Now, what do you need to hear?
What I need to hear is that I guess because I know like regardless of the situation, I don't know. I'm planning my life. I don't know if I need to plan my life accordingly. I guess because if it was just if it was just me and her in this situation, I could plan my life accordingly. But since it's me and my at least three other dudes in the equation now, I don't know whether or not to plan my future with or without. So I've been trying to do both, and it's overlapping with my life right now.
So let's stop there. Let's take it in quick bites. So if there's 3 other possibilities that this child could be somebody else's, you're right to do it as though this may be your child. Always plan for the worst. If the worst don't come, you've already conquered that, and now you know what to do, right? But at this point, you know at how old are you? 16. That you might be a daddy at 17, and still can't teach her. Because right now at 17, can you go take the baby to the doctor?
No.
Okay. Baby choking, you know CPR?
No.
Oh, okay. But you know how to ejaculate in a girl.
Right.
Oh, okay. You feel good too. Yeah, right. However, your choices,
Right. Right.
your choices may make you grow up. And it ain't a bad thing.
No, I don't see that.
It may not be a bad, but it's gonna make you miss out on some opportunity of being 16, 17.
Right.
So that's what you need to hear. But also what I would like to tell you is
gratitude goes a long way with you. Go and tell y'all, whoever in your circle, thank you often. Because if you learn to go to them a lot sooner, instead of worrying about what they gonna tell you not to do, because they don't want the hand. Because they know, as with my child, whatever he do, gonna end up at my plate. So when I say to him, protect me from having to deal with your mess. When Mama walked through the door from working, and she wanted to deal with that after working on a job all day.
No.
But she fixed her problem. But if you'd have came to Mama with, Mama, you know what? I trust you enough to fix my problem, but I don't trust you enough to kill you before I do. Let's get that. That's my 2 cents. Let's get to being able to talk to Mama before we do something.
All right.
That make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Done deal. Anybody else? My brother, he ain't got nothing to do with it, huh? But also I want to talk about, but in our generation, before they had this one pill to treat HIV, see, I'm 43. HIV was real in the 80s. So we wasn't worried about, I was scared to have unprotected sex. The baby was the last thing that I was worried about. That makes sense too?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So that's still real, but it just ain't as real as it used to be. So if you okay with taking one pill the rest of your life, be okay with that too. Okay?
All right, all right.
All right. So if you okay with that, stay in the same realm. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. Because it's just based on what you said is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Statistically in our community, what's the HIV rate? I think 1 out of 11 or 1 out of 12 might have HIV, something like that. Don't quote me because you know camera, there's somebody gonna say it's 1 out of 30. You know what I mean? But I don't know what it is. But let's just say it's 1 out of 50. If and we don't want to put this young lady out there because she is somebody's child, but let's just say it's 1 out of 10. And let's hypothetical. Is it worth the rolling them dice?
No, not at all.
But you gotta remember that when it happens again, it's gonna happen again, and it's gonna happen again and again and again. As young adults and young men, y'all gonna be put in those situations again, and some of them you gonna roll the dice, and some of them you hopefully gonna be smart. You gonna hear what I say? It's gonna bobble around in your head for about 3, 4 days, and
You're right. That's how it is.
that's how it is. But maybe it'll bounce around and it'll stay right there, and then you'll hold on to it a little bit. But then don't come back and be one of them people that come in here and sit and say during the manhood event, I wish I would have listened and not take the pill every day. Okay?
I hear you.
All right.
So, all I can say is, I've learned a lot from y'all this evening. John, did you say you learned?
It's great. I think I've got a lot. I like hearing y'all experiences. Because there are experiences that you weren't faced with. And the biggest thing of what I say is always learning is because of this. We have this. So ain't nobody can be in me when I was 16. Ain't nobody could Facebook me at 16. I always tell the story of it was a situation where I used to steal Playboys when I was about your age, 13. You ain't know what Playboy is, right? That's what young guys used to look at. Pictures of naked girls, not women girls, right? We have this. Y'all have now this. So no longer is pictures. It is live action, right? we had scratchy sniff. We had scratchy sniff, maybe. Maybe it's good enough I can smell. Now, with this, we change the game. So this can be beneficial or it can be detrimental. Okay? Because if we'd have had this, when I was growing up, we had encyclopedias, right? We had to go into that, how you don't even know what that is, right? We were so, because the people would go, knock on your door, you want these books of encyclopedias are going to look up your homework. So if you wanted to know what something was, you had to go to these books that if your parents was privileged enough, they would buy the whole set. And if you was poor, like we were, I had to go steal one from the library and sneak it back in. But today, if you want to know what stuff is today doing homework, you go to Wikipedia, right? We ain't had Wikipedia. You had them books. And you had to thumb through them books. Okay, right?
Right.
And then it ain't give you all that other scenarios that you can copy and paste and get your work done. What no copy and paste off that book? So this can benefit you, and this can have you tell stories. All right? So just be mindful of what's in your head.
All right. So I need this phone that like what I did this stuff was talking about. Then him.
You mean Solomon or Benny?
Huh?
Solomon or Benny, who was just in here?
Benny.
Okay.
Okay. I need guidance. So look, when I was this is something like I was like in 11th grade last year. I had this friend. And he had a jewel painter. It was more so peer pressure. He had asked me if I wanted to
Try to pen.
yeah,
Okay. And you tried.
yeah.
And then what?
I got I met her that high. And it was still good, and it was still good. So what you as grown man would tell me?
You ain't done it again, though, right?
No.
So you learned your lesson.
Yeah.
You want to know? You want to try it again? There you go. So that makes sense? If you don't want to see it, can we pause the camera, right?
Yeah.
Let's pause. This one is out. Turn that one on. Oh, we was on camera. Oh.